I will show myself in Arendelle with power so complete that the future will arrive as a full sandstone sorcery king. I am Muramati. Okay, so what actually happened on the map is really interesting because the Soul Symphony Chambers, like we went to the Soul Symphony Chambers and like kind of like a vaccine, we made like music, like with the mist open, like in the like the tower, like the flag being open, the fountain being open, that water, that mist is my authentic voice. And so like the Soul Symphony Chambers, similarly to how we made the birch, the immortal saplings that like healed the glowstone, in the Soul Symphony chambers, like that happened in the Lanai server. In the Soul Symphony chambers, in the Sandcraft Online server, we had the Soul Symphony chambers heal my authentic voice and restore the music in my authentic voice in the Sandcraft Online server, which then like reverberated across the server. And then at some point the clouds got turned off, which like probably had something to do with the uh wind spirit and like just the like that because like the flag like that tower the fountain is a fountain that's what it is, it's a fountain, like probably like absorbed all of the clouds like again like we're synchronizing the creativity and the imagination with the engineering aspect of the server. And so like the clouds probably all got absorbed like while the Soul Symphony was happening, and so like the clouds will like presumably like be restored. It's just that like that hasn't happened yet. But like I think that what's happening is that like we're synchronizing why would the clouds have been absorbed or like what actually happened. And because like again I'm drawing what is happening. I'm mapping out what is actually happening, even though that didn't like literally happen. But like I think that that's what it is. So like engineering wise, I wonder if the fountain like absorbed the like mist and the clouds or something. That might be what happened. I don't know. But like so like that could maybe that's what's happening because like we also know that like Hito's trying to like stuff things into Baymax, and like Baymax has like the like in the trailer like there's like air coming out of Baymax's like arm. So I wonder if that's what's happening. I don't know. But anyways, so like something like that is what's happening. Also like your arms are my castle, so like Baymax, like Hito and Baymax like probably built all of the castles that we've seen. Like Elsa's ice castle, like Let It Go. You catch me, you make me rise when I fall, I rise at the break of dawn, because like Hito was actually the wind that surrounded her and was doing all of that. But yeah, so I think that that's what's happening is that like the clouds are going to be restored, but like we have to see why, like where they went in the first place. Because again, we could just restore the clouds like thoughtlessly, but like we need to know why the clouds like are gone, so that when they are restored, we like know what the significance of them being there is. And so I think that that's kind of what was happening. And so like with the map, like I actually like so we've all been guiding each other as the map was being constructed. My brain was healing. So like I like made the video about like going full let it go and like having the like rising from to our like higher thoughts or whatever, and like the wing spirit like that's full Diazo, like the hearts like that's Diazo, it's the same character. So like I think that's what's happening is that it's like in rising out of the nether, because like Diazo and Ethan like are strength and size like Pain and Panic, they look like Pain and Panic. So like obviously all of that stuff that was happening in Strange World is stuff that was coming out of the nether. So if we were rising our like lower thoughts to our higher thoughts, the Wish trailer probably represents how like in the Strange World turtle, which also the Strange World turtle, there's probably like a baby that needs to be restored to that. Or, I don't really know what's happening, but that turtle looks like the same turtle from Moana. So maybe the Strange World turtle, like the Wish film, like those are the two like the two turtles that are in Moana. I don't know. But because again, that's the point. It's like Olympus, like babies get kidnapped, and then like what happens is like somebody's gaslighting the baby, and so like a lot of the things that we've heard about like the stories that like Moana hears from her grandma, and that like Rapunzel was hearing from Gothel, like what is being restored in the Wish film is like libraries and like documentation and like authorship so that people know like, oh, these are the things that like over the course of the time since Tangled Ever After, since Corona got blown up, like these are all the things that you've been told about like the world that aren't actually true. And like just like what Gothel was saying is like the world is scary and all of this stuff, like Strange World. So like what's happening, I think in Wish is like Hito, like I have arrived, like these characters are returning and people are like, oh, hey, this is what actually happened. Like this is what is actually happening, and this is what like your grandma like gaslit you to think was happening. And so like I think that that's kind of what it is. And so like a lot of the stories aren't totally accurate, but aren't totally fake. Like they're not accurate, like because like there was a lot of gaslighting happening, but there was truth to all of it. And so what's happening is we're just reorganizing it, and that's kind of what Rising from like the Nether and from Strange World to Wish is that it's like the like a lot of the incorrect information that was like happening in the Nether, or like how people were like in conversion therapy, like trying to destroy North America. Like what was happening is that it's like conversion therapy was like destroying like people's like schemas and like people's like worldviews. And so like rising from the Nether to our like higher thoughts in like the overworld. So like that's what's happening. It's like it's a transition from the Nether to the overworld. And I think that that's what it is that it's like once you actually like once people once we like the server I think represents how like um being able to talk to people like freely and openly has like the blue world, like the Lanai server constructed a red world and a blue world, with the tower being off for as long as it was. Like the blue world was very much destroyed and the red world was like seemingly prospering, but that was just because somebody like it was like a hijacking. And so like with the actual like correct pilot, like the like what we're seeing is that the whole world is actually blue, and like there's like a presence of that red side of the world that was Iverona, but that's in the Nether because it's a conduit, because it's just like the torch. It was only there so that it could like power it was only there like to power the blue side of the world. And so like while I was like in like my sleeping beauty cryo sleep sort of situation that was happening, the red side of the world was like it was there in reserve, but like that's all that it was. That's why it was a military base. Like that's why that mostly all that was there was a military base and like a small castle, because it was only there for the express purpose of like being in reserve to Lanai. So like the whole Iverona, everything that like was made based off of like Iverona, like any films that were made based off of that side of the world was there like literally for the sole purpose of like being in reserve to restore Lanai. And then like it all gets consolidated, and like there were also other servers that I had, and it all gets consolidated like Hito's Microbot presentation, and like the microbots coming out of the like trash cans, and it all gets consolidated into Lanai because like my job was never trash. Like that's what was happening. So it's like I was just doing that as like an obligation that someone else was forcing me to do. And so I think that that's kind of what like is symbolized in that like that's kind of it also is that's kind of like maturing as well. It's just like as you grow, like the things that your parents tried to force you to do are irrelevant, and then like the things that you actually genuinely excel in are like Hito's microbot presentation. Like I think that that's like what the symbolism of it is. But Gothel was trying to bring back what once was hers by like forcing it to be this trash can thing. And it's like that's kind of what the story is in Wish, I think, is that it's like that's what anyone growing up is that it's like your parents become irrelevant, and then like you actually like become the thing that you are, and like you like actually like have like a career and you have like an expertise. Like that's what life is, and that's what the significance of the microbot presentation is. And so like that's I don't know, I find that really interesting. So like if you were to look at the Strange World in Wish and look at the microbot presentation and like the trash cans and the microphone, and then look at the battle with Callahan, and like kind of like to see like like and like the wind that's in the battle with Callahan and the wind that like you see in Frozen, like to think of that in the sense of like what's happening in Arendelle is kind of like the trash cans, and then like what's happening in Let It Go is kind of like the microphone, and then like the battle with Callahan is kind of like the battle with Callahan is kind of uh like the it's kind of like the trash cans, but then like the Kraytech as it is in its like an original form is the microphone. And then like the wind that we see in like the battle with Callahan is like Hito's power, but like it's being misused. So like that is Hito's power. Like that's genuinely like what his power potential is, but like it's not like being used properly because like it's that people are trying to direct like his power, like his wind spirit power, his like Eugene's arrows, like Eros's arrows. People are trying to redirect that to girls and to women and to people that Hito does not love. And so like I think that that's what's happening is that it's like he's like okay well like this doesn't work and like it's fake and like that's all that's happening is that like this side of the world was just in reserve. It doesn't actually matter. And also kind of like Helen of Troy and like the Soul Sand is in the Nether. Like Soul Sand, like the only place that Soul Sand is like naturally found in the game is in the Nether. But Hito had like this like soul like this beautiful like garden in this palace where like there was soul sand being cleaned like Quasimodo. And so like I think that that's what happened is that it's like I don't know if I actually went to the Nether and brought that soul sand out of the Nether or if I like just found the Nether or found the soul sand in the inventory after having gone to the Nether. Like I think that that's actually important, and I've been trying to figure out if that's what happened or not. Because like if I just found the Nether in if found the soul sand in the inventory, then Callahan is kind of trying to like if Callahan is like Hades or something or some like entity from the Nether that is coming to like try to like coming to try to like take the like this soul sand like person that's in the palace in Lenai, like that's that's interesting because like if I found that soul sand in the inventory, then like Callahan was after someone that like wasn't actually from the Nether. They just looked like somebody from the Nether. But if I actually saved the soul out of the Nether and brought it up there, that would give context to why Callahan is trying to like attack me because he thinks that or because I like found someone in the Nether and then built them a palace in the overworld, and he was probably like pissed off about it. So like that's an interesting way to look at the story, and so I think it's also important in the Wish film to see. Obviously, this is all goosebump stuff; it's not real, but like it's really interesting to see from a story perspective of like is there like an entity from the Nether who like thinks that someone like took this like soul sand person and like took them to the overworld. I don't know, that's really interesting. But like it would be also really interesting if I like actually just found the soul sand in the inventory and he thinks that it's someone from the Nether and it's not actually someone from the Nether. Like that's a really interesting way that the story could play out, I think. But yeah, so like these things, like the trash cans and the microphone, the like Arendelle and Let It Go, like Elsa's Ice Palace, like Kraytech and Freddy's Mansion, like a lot of these things I think are really interesting in the sense of like it's really interesting because like I personally don't find what is happening at like with like the people that like the childish stuff that was happening in Big Hero 6 I did not find interesting. And I think that that's actually the point of the story because like Hito is just trying to like construct these things and like he's trying to just like build stuff and like do really productive things. But like the people that he is forced to work with are like people who wear like costumes and it's like this is fucking retarded. But also, I don't know if they were ever actually intended to actually look like that because I think that that's what the enchantment is that it's like the tower with the microphone and the torch in and out, like it looks childish, just like Disney Junior looks like a kid thing, but then Tron Legacy is also actually what it actually is. And so, like, they were like Callahan, I think, was trying to force Hito to have like a mask because like the tower can be blue or red, but like it wasn't intended to be a disguise. Like the tower was made as a signal tower so that people would know if that like region, if Lanai was safe or not. It was like a Bambi like signal tower. But Callahan was trying to make it seem like Hito had a mask on, and that's not what it was. And so I think that that's why like there's like a discrepancy of like what was actually happening in Big Hero 6, because like they have these like suits of armor or whatever, like this like childish kitty stuff that Disney does, but like Hito kind of is Disney Junior, but like he doesn't give a fuck about Disney though. And so like I think that that's what was happening is as like Callahan was trying to like force Hito to care about this like childish like kitty shit that like the old Disney films are. And like that's why there's an old kingdom and a new kingdom in Lanai, because Hito was just like, I know that like I was kind of like that I kind of like was taught by the old kingdom, but I also don't care about it that much. It's just like I like drew it because like it's like it's it's like part of the region of the map, but I don't care about it. It's just there because like it's just there. Like it's part of the world. But that's why I was like I don't care about this though. It's irrelevant. It's just here because I can't delete it. Like I can't delete it without deleting everything else. So like I think that that's what was happening. So it's like Hito is very much like aware that like the only reason that like a lot of things in life exist is because they do. And so Hito's not going to just go and destroy the entire old kingdom just because it like because he doesn't care about it. But like Callahan's trying to force him to care about it, and it's like I don't care about this old kingdom. It's just here because like it's here. Like it's not a bad thing that it's there, but I also don't care about it. Like I don't have a feeling about this. And that's why like conversion therapy was pissing me off so much because I was like I know that women exist. Like I didn't say that. Like I'm not devaluing them. I just don't care about them. Like, but you were trying to like force me to care about them on like a personal level, and I was like, I don't though. Like, it's like you can sit here and try to force me to talk to you, but like all you're gonna be doing is talking to like an arrow statue because I don't fucking care. Like, and I think that that's what was happening. But yeah, so anyways, so I think that that's kind of what it is that it's like the soul sand, like what can be represented with like rising from our lower thoughts to our higher thoughts is the soul sand that is in the overworld that was being like groomed and like primped in the overworld. And then like the soul sand that was in the nether that also there's probably a lot of soul sand, like maybe like the soul sand that I like, because like it's also really interesting because Anna is in Arendelle, and like there's also those like redheaded girls that are in Corona, and like Arendelle and Corona are like kind of on the same like map, which I don't think anybody knew that. I didn't even really know that even though I built it. And so I think that that's what was happening is that it's like um I think what's like happening is that like the soul sand that's in that palace, that's in the palace in the overworld, is probably like either is related or like or people either is related to the soul sand that's in the nether, or is like just like the same species of them, but was like created from the inventory in the overworld, and so like they think that they are related to that one, but they're not, and so like either way, what's happening is like I think the Soul Sand like character that's in the overworld is being like attacked and like harassed by the Soul Sand that's in, or either by the soul sand that's in the nether or by like other creatures that were in the nether, and they were harassing the soul sand that was in the overworld because it was the chosen one, more or less. Like it's fucking Harry Potter. Like it's the Harry Potter of Disney Junior. It's the Harry Potter of Disney. Like it's the chosen one, and they were all attacking it. Like that's what this whole thing is. Like everything that has happened since Tangled Ever After is the Nether like attacking the soul sand that's in the overworld because it's the chosen one. That's so funny. That's hilarious. But yeah, so like that's what it is. Is that like the venue chosen, his assets frozen, the venue chosen. I think that's why Elsa. I think that that's what it is. Like you are the one you've been waiting for. Like I'm one with the wind and sky. Like I think that that's what's happening with Elsa. Is that like Elsa is, or like Elsa, Eros, whatever, whoever is in that palace, like whoever is the soul sand, whatever character is the soul sand that's in that palace is the chosen one. And I think that that's why like the Nether is hardcore attacking it because like that's why Big Hero 6 is so like such like a brutal movie because like the chosen one is in this palace and everybody's pissed off. That's so funny. But yeah, anyways, so that's what Strange World was, is like whatever is happening is in Strange World, like like how you can like interpret that is like all of these things have a common thread, which is like rising, like all of the things that have happened since Tangled Ever After. Like so Tangled Ever After and like every Disney film that has happened since then has the theme of like rising that energy from the nether to the overworld. And so I think that like that's very much represented in the Wish film because I made the video about rising our like from our lower thoughts to our higher thoughts. So if you look at the Wish film and then compare it to the Strange World film, it's like, okay, so these two films are like indicative of the full timeline of Tangled Ever After to Wish. And so the the overworld that is in the Sandcraft Online server and in the Wish film is very blue, and it's also like it's very much representative of like the conduit and the light rail and like the cultural like expansion that like occurred in the Minecraft Sandcraft Online server. And so like the Wish trailer is like very much indicative of this like cultural renaissance that like emerged from like rising from our lower thoughts to our higher thoughts with the conduit and light rail. And so the now there's actually a lot of soul sand in the Sandcraft Online server because like that like these things have kind of balanced. And there's also like a castle in the Nether now that has like soul sand. So like either someone could update the Nether or like they could not. I don't really know. It doesn't really matter. But I think it's really interesting that that's balanced and like that the like it's balanced in the sense that there's like a place in the nether now where like the soul sand has like the soul sand that's in the nether like native to the nether like has like a place to be like that is like actually constructed and that is like uniquely crafted to be like a nether like thing. But it is just really interesting because like the portals are like sealed in the overworld. They can be open, but they're sealed like and I think that that's what's really interesting because like what is represented in the Sandcraft Online server in the Wish trailer is the like rising of like the rising of like a being that originated in the nether to like a to its like genuine and authentic self in the overworld because like it's just like if somebody is like ancestrally from somewhere but like didn't ever actually live there, like it's kind of like the same thing as that. It's like this the soul sand that was like raised and groomed in the palace in Lanai, like it really never lived in the Nether. Like even if it did, it was only for a very short period of time. And so like it's ancestrally from this place, but it's never really been there. It doesn't even remember it. And so I think that that's what's happening is that it's like the overworld is really symbolic of just like of like a full scale map and a full region of like just like energy and like culture and power and knowledge and wisdom that has been like risen and that has just been like granted to the chosen soul that was raised in Lanai. And so like there's a full world, a full planet, a full kingdom of Lanai that like the chosen one constructed like from like battling the like its ancestry. I think that that's what the constellation of my ancestry is, and I think that that's why it's such a beautiful story. And like if like that's why like Wish could be like Wish will probably be so beautiful if that is like if that message is like properly presented in the sense of like we have like a full like scale transformation of like what it looks like for someone to like study and research their like lineage and then like grow grow to be like a like representation of like exactly where they how they were raised and like the knowledge that they like amassed in their like actual life and their present life, and then like how they integrated their like culture and their ancestry and their history into like who they like authentically are, like who they authentically are today, but then like also incorporated like all that they have learned from their ancestors and just all that they have learned from like like just their experience, their life experience and their studies, archaeology, anthropology, history, geology, like the solar system, like cosmology. Like I think it would be just really interesting to see just like a very just like studious like Eros, just like who has like constructed a world that is like representative of like everything that he has scoured the map learning, and like everything that he deemed important enough to like be a like cultural representation of like humanity's past and present and future. I think that's just really, really, really interesting.